Okay, I'm in Fredericton, and I've got somebody here I want to talk to. So, I'm sort of a fan of his.
I'm sort of a fan of yours.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And what's your name?
Steve Murphy, Charlie. What's your name?
What's my name? Charles LeBlanc.
Trouble's your middle name, Charlie.
You know me too well.
I do.
Steve,
yeah.
Could you explain to me of local manners? What does that mean?
Local TV matters?
Yes.
Well, local TV matters basically is the broadcasters of the country, the public and the private broadcasters, CBC, Global, CTV, and some independent stations, telling Canadians that really, if you want to sustain local television, we're going to have to find a new way to fund it, because the cable companies, which of course package and redistribute cable signals, don't pay broadcasters for those signals. So that is our industry, our corporate industry, asking Canadians to consider that side of that argument. And of course the cable industry has their side as well. And Canadians can look at both and make up their own mind.
What do you say to people that say CTV made enough money?
Well, I think you know, first of all, I'm not a very good person to talk about how much money CTV does or doesn't make, because I'm not involved in that side of our business. But I do know that private television stations like ATV or CTV here in the Maritimes do not make any money, or at least not very much. And I think it's fair to say that in recent years, local TV isn't really making any money. So this is really a question about what local TV is doing. Yes, my company and others, they do own television properties that make money. But the stations that we work for are not very profitable at the moment. And that is in part because of the nature of the programs that we make. It's expensive to make local news, and it's not always as rewarding or as profitable as it needs to be to pay the bills.
What do you say to people, especially here in New Brunswick, that there's too much Nova Scotia news?
Same thing I say to people in Nova Scotia who tell me there's too much New Brunswick news, and that is that when you are doing news for a region, which is what we're doing, that on some days there will be more from one part of that region than another, and people sometimes feel as though, you know, there's too much from an area other than their own backyard. But I think over the fullness of time, you know, if you consider the amount of coverage, for example, that we did in our program tonight pertaining to the sale of NB Power, I'm sure some people in Nova Scotia are going to tell me, Steve, you did too much about NB Power, but you know, NB Power is an important story. So, you know, we try to cover the news for the region, and I say to my friends in New Brunswick the same thing I say to my friends in Nova Scotia. You know, we cover the news wherever it happens.
Where does a person could leave their support? To a website, or?
Well, I think Local TV Matters is one, and I think obviously the CRTC, which is the regulator of broadcasting. You can talk to the CRTC about anything, not just this. I mean, if you have concerns about radio, television, the cable company, satellite company, the CRTC is the place to talk to.
Okay, now we know. We're going to go to part 2 in 1 second.